particularly the problem that politicians, presidential candidates have talking about this issue on the campaign trail, is that there is almost no alternative but to pick stories of people who've lost, of losers. And human beings tend to turn away from stories about losers. What I was trying to do in looking at income volatility is not find some new and previously undisclosed risk that you all face. What I was trying to do is, if you will, devise a riskometer, something that can tell us about the danger that we have before you get hit, so that we can have a conversation about the economy that doesn't require us to trot out one after another people who have lost already. One of the things that's happening today is that everybody has more computing power, and so economists are really enthusiastic about using these huge databases. And in the case of the CBO study, what they're trying to do is they're trying to use essentially the IRS. They're trying to use IRS data to give you to measure sort of how people did over time. But you have a problem with IRS data. It's for individuals, so that they have to synthesize, if you will, families. So the trick is that they have to go to another study, the so-called SIP, which has families, and they use the SIP to take the IRS data and piece it together. So, this person and this person, their number goes together, and so that's income. Well, it turns out that this matching is a total mess. I mean, in fact, by 2003, the mismatch between the database they use to assemble their families and the IRS, they have to throw out 40% of their of the SIP data. So now maybe it's random, in which case their conclusion is right. But 40% is a big, big number. So you have to wonder whether or not their synthesized families are what we know of as families.
I'll say just for 2 minutes or 1 minute. First, this is exactly why it's hard to cover this subject, because you get lost in the statistics, and everybody's got their frame of 69 versus 89, and that's exactly the sort of problem we always stumble into, which makes it hard to address this. And what I found is you go with the stuff that everybody agrees with. I think everybody agrees with there's widening
Well, I'm all
inequality.
for everybody agreeing with what's in the book, but
but if we had the CBO guys here, believe me, they'd have their own statistical. But everybody agrees, first of all, that there's widening inequality, that wages aren't keeping up, and every pollster agrees that there's a great deal of economic anxiety. And then, to me, the second question is, what do you do about it? And that's actually a different question than what is the cause. I've been in so many conversations where we start talking about the causes of wage stagnation, the cause of economic anxiety, and we go around the table, the labor guys talk about that problem, the education people talk about that problem, the household people talk about the household problem, the divorce people talk about the divorce whole problem, and they debate what percentages, what problem, and you never get anywhere. And so to me, it's actually a separate question we should talk about, which is what should we do about it, which is different than what is the cause. And one of the virtues of Rudy Giuliani, whose campaign was truly terrible, but when he talked about crime, he didn't talk about the cause of crime. Let's just try to end crime. And it seems to me that the area we do have control over most, and we don't have a lot, is in these human capital policies. One of the other disagreements, which I didn't get to get into in the book, I've got a string of 100 if you like. No, I don't. I had two. One, right. The second one I'm now going to posit. You talk about the increased risk, the increased mistakes individuals make in investing. Nobel Prize winners. But it's sort of a false comparison. Either the individuals do make mistakes or investing, but if the individuals aren't making those decisions, somebody else is going to be making them.
But I want to be sure you understand that I do think this book can be read as flat, which is that
when you say flat, you're bringing nightmares of Tom Friedman. My office is next to Tom Friedman. His book, The World is Flat, has sold more copies.
Sorry. I know that's a nightmare. But
I live in Tom Friedman's shadow.
Okay, you can get round, and I do think that if you believe individuals should be the locus of most economic decision making, then you've got to accept that they need the tools to make those decisions.
Absolutely.
And it does seem to me that we really function, even quite affluent families function with a few kind of rules of thumb. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. A few things like that. But we don't have any sophisticated ways of making these judgments. And simple fairness. Even if you want to play the game that has individuals making the decision, they got to have the same set of tools or a comparable set of tools as, for example, their health insurers to make these decisions. And I don't see that they've been given those. So.